Yeah, welcome into the Friday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, brought to you by First Horizon, Big Bank Muscle, Small Bank Hustle. Visit firsthorizon.com/get it all. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How we doing?
Doing all right. Little tired.
Same.
Because I stayed up later than I was going to stay up last night.
Same.
But it's Friday.
That's true.
And got in okay. The road's fine. Kids going back to school. Get your butts back to school, kids.
Keyser, how we doing? What's going on?
What's up? Welcome to the party, guys. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been 2 days.
You could have been here.
It's been 2 days.
Yeah.
Longer for me. Oh, no, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. The snow came.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, same. 2 days. You be fine. You get a day of us, and then you get 2 days without us again.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 days. That's a big.
You don't get 2 days without me,
man.
Then I get a day of pizza, Joe. Then I get my lunch.
Well, it's not me buying it, but yeah, it's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit later in the program. Wow, Keyser's feeling feisty this morning. Told you to cry about it.
Wow.
Jeez.
Tough guy sitting here by himself for a couple of days, and all of a sudden he wants to talk some trash. All right.
Got some glass separating him, and he can say whatever he wants, apparently.
I
all
guess
right.
so.
I
Be like that,
like it.
those Houston radio guys.
Yeah.
Say what now?
Forgot about that one. Oh, we'll have to show you the video. It was one of the great things that has happened in the history of this platform, I think.
It's something that could happen if we ever had a Stilly and Polly show.
Yeah, for sure. At any point, really. So,
yeah.
If you're out there listening and you don't know what we're talking about, just Google search Houston radio fight and you'll see it. So
will that do it? Houston radio fight?
I'm pretty sure that'll probably.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll probably pull that one up.
Watch out, Keyser.
What a game last night between the United States and the Canadians. Canada gets the win, 3-2 in overtime. Connor McDavid scores the game winner. It was a back and forth game. It was, I don't know how to describe it other than it was extremely high level hockey, and there was almost zero room out there for the majority of the game, given how both teams were playing. It got to a point in the third period where it kind of felt like both teams were afraid to make a mistake. And then I thought overtime opened up. I thought there's a lot of good looks for Team USA. Matthews had like 3 by himself. Brady Tkachuk had a look at an open net that Bennington somehow got back over, made a glove save. And when he made that save, I was texting some friends of mine. We were watching the game. And I was just like, remember that one, because that one could come back to hurt. And sure enough, it did. McDavid just got lost in coverage in the middle. He's wide open in the middle of the ice, and you leave Connor McDavid wide open in the middle of the ice, it's probably not going to go well for you, and it did not. The Canadians win the Four Nations tournament. They come out on top. What a tournament, what a game, and close but no cigar for Team USA last night.
I haven't been that enthralled. Look, I was excited, but I wasn't I was like, I'm going to watch it. Of course, you have to watch this. The hockey to me was I just haven't been that enthralled by a game just constantly in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's like if you compare that game, the level of play, the level, just the level of talent out there to, your average hockey game. I'm trying to think of an apt comparison, it's like you're watching, it's like I'm trying to think of it's like you're watching a so-so mafia series and then The Godfather comes on.
Yeah,
that was a terrible comparison, but I'm trying.
I know what you're saying.
It's prime rib, and it was awesome, and plenty of chance. I thought Canada was definitely better, in the second period.
Yeah.
And you think about Tkachuk. Well, Matthew of course doesn't play for most of the game. Second period, first of all, Brady has the one shot that, of course, could have won but the second period, do you remember the play where he had the backhand no look that would have gone to Matthew? Yeah. He missed him by about 6 inches. That I think that would have put him up 2-1. That could have been there was just so many plays like that, so many close calls. It was awesome.
It was great hockey. It was great theater. Look, I don't think the tournament as a whole, with the probable exception of Team USA winning it, I don't think the tournament as a whole could have gone better for the sport. And the game of hockey. And that's not like me taking a shot at Canada. It's just like Canada always wins these tournaments. So like getting somebody else to do it and watching Team USA finish that off on a stage like that would have been awesome. Now, what I will say, I saw a lot of people talking about this in the immediate aftermath of the game last night, from Elliot Friedman to people who I know for a fact don't watch hockey all that often. It was like, wow, less than a year until we see this again in the Winter Olympics. It's going to be awesome. Like I do think this kind of sets the stage for what could be awesome hockey next year in the Winter Olympics. But I thought last night's game was unbelievable. Like, it didn't have the start that the Saturday night game did, where there's 3 fights in 9 seconds. I think everybody probably knew that was not going to happen. And then when Canada was the road team last night, so they got to pick the starting lineup first. And when you start McDavid, you know that McDavid's line is not getting in a fight to start the game. So I didn't expect that to happen, but I thought Team USA kind of got better as the game went on, which was amazing because, as you said, Matthew Tkachuk couldn't play. Like he tried, he gave it a go, and I'll be interested to see how long he's out. Now back in the regular season.
Now that we're back in the real world, there's some teams that are like, dude.
Yeah, like even Colorado tomorrow. Like, is McCarr going to play? Like, is McKinnon going to be like, yeah, I'll see you guys in a few days? Like, I'm interested to see what the aftermath of this looks like, because, I mean, it was clear from the reaction from Team Canada. It was clear with the way the whole tournament went, really, but certainly the game last night, the physicality, like every ounce of what those guys had, they poured it out there last night, and it was awesome to watch. It really was.
Yeah, and I mean, basically, U.S. going with 10 forwards for a lot of the night, right? Because Kreider's hurt too, so I mean, that's pretty impressive, man. But yes, now you've got. I mean, this is I guess what some of these guys were talking about. You're going to have some bumps and bruises, and does it affect the season of a team? But to me, it's a price worth paying for the sport.
There has been a lot of positivity done for this sport over the last 10 days. I mean, there just has been. And look, if you're a team like the Bruins, like I have no idea how long Charlie McAvoy is going to be out, but it doesn't look great. Like there's a chance that he may not return this year. So obviously that sucks, right? Like if you're the Bruins sitting there, you're like, well, great. I'm glad everybody had their moment. Our best defenseman is out.
Yeah.
Or like, look, Tkachuk, I think something's pretty clearly wrong with his groin. Like, I have no idea how long he's going to be out. Now, Florida's in a good spot. They're going to make the playoffs, and he'll have some time to heal up here. But, like, if he's out for a significant period of time, I'm sure the Panthers are like, well, great. That's awesome.
Well, and that's one of those that then you think you're fine to come back, and then you aggravate it again all of a sudden in the first round.
Exactly. So we'll see what the aftermath of it ends up being like for these teammates. There's going to be some complaining, like especially if guys are out long term. There's going to be some complaining from teams. If I'm Gary Bettman, if I'm the NHL, I'm like, yeah, man, I hate your luck. I'm sorry about it, but you're going to have to get over it, because there was more done for this league and this sport through this tournament than there will be the rest of the year with the playoffs. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. Like to me, and I wish it was with everyone healthy, then it wouldn't, but it's probably good for everybody to see this is a reality, but like to me, it's not even close. Like the scale is tipped way on one side. This should end any possibility in the future that we have an Olympics without best on best. It's such a great product, and it's so good for the overall product at large.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously 2010, you had Sidney Crosby with the golden goal in overtime for the game winner. Now, he had already won a Stanley Cup before that. He won a Stanley Cup the year before.
Yes, he did.
So, yeah, great game, great series, which I'm sure you were
I was in
thrilled
Pittsburgh
to watch
that night.
Yes. So, like, it wasn't like that was Crosby's breakthrough. McDavid doesn't really need a breakthrough, but he hasn't won a big one yet. And not that last night's game is a Stanley Cup. It's not an Olympic gold medal or anything. He talked about that. But like that's a goal that Canadian fans and look, USA fans are going to remember for a long time.
I mean, it's biggest goal of his career,
probably.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy in a way, because like I think I've seen a lot of talk to this effect, and I definitely am on board with this. But even like people in the sport, like a lot of people didn't necessarily think this was going to be take off the way it did,
Right.
or be as
I did.
I never thought that it was going to be all-star game type stuff, exhibition stuff.
Right.
You knew they were going to play hard, but yeah, no, I mean, I think that a lot of people have been surprised by this, but by the time you get to the end of it, it's like, yeah, man, like these stakes are high.
The stakes were high, and it was really cool just following along on Twitter last night, or X, or whatever you want to call it, and having people that I know for a fact have not watched hockey to any length whatsoever that were all in watching this game last night. I will be very interested to see like what the ratings end up looking like for this one, because it's kind of the perfect storm. Like, it's nothing else is really going on last night. You had the build up for it, and then the game lived up to it. Like, we see this sometimes where the game does not match the build up, and then this one did. It was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. Texter says this was Joe and PK's worst of the week, worst in sports, and we're giving Keyser crap this week. I think it was actually my worst, but then Carsey just said, "Yeah, let me say something else about that too." Yes,
Keyser, do you feel validated?
That is my
I
worst.
smoke weed constantly.
That was my
Thank you.
worst in sports ever. We all have to have a best and a worst of worst and best and worst.
Oh, well, to your point, I don't think anybody really expected the tournament to go this way.
Yeah.
Heading into it, I was excited about US Canada because I knew the environment in Montreal. I knew it would be a good game, a good environment. I didn't know it would be that 3 fights in 9 seconds, and I certainly didn't know it would lead to this. Like, I would not have thought this to be possible heading into this.
Yeah. No, I mean I'll change it to the best. Okay.
There you go.
Got a texter says NHL had a home run with this. Now we got to go back to watching the Preds after the great hockey we got to watch.
It was funny hearing like Ray Ferraro on the call last night. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's a season after this. It's fun. It's good." Like, can you imagine like Nathan McKinnon? You play in a game like that last night with the intensity level being what it was, and then it's like, "All right, Nate, get on a plane and you got to go play the Nashville Predators on Saturday. Have fun."
Now
in
you
a
need
regular
to,
season game with like, you're close to the playoffs, but you're still far enough away from the playoffs right now where it's like, we got a lot of hockey left before we get to the playoffs.
Nate, now that you've avoided becoming the 51st state, you must zero in on the Nashville Predators. They are your new enemy.
Better watch out, Nate.
Yeah.
Ready for that anthem on Saturday night.
Oh, boy.
615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction to the game last night between U.S. and Canada. Canada gets the win in overtime. Your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on this tournament, and what it's done for the sport of hockey. More on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the game last night between the United States and Canada. What a hockey game that was. Canada wins in overtime. Connor McDavid, the game winner. It really was funny. Like, I was watching McDavid last night, and, you know, when it's McDavid and McKinnon, you're just waiting on one of them to go make a play. And McKinnon did early in the game. After that, I thought the USA did a really good job of slowing him down. I thought McDavid was bad all night. Like, he couldn't control the puck. Like, he kept hopping over his stick. He was really bad in terms of, like, the decisions that he was making coming through the neutral zone. And he talked about it after the game. He's like, yeah, that was pretty horrible all night. And then he scores the game-winning goal there. Like, I thought the way that Team USA played was exactly the way that they needed to play. They got loose on a terrible turnover from the zone in from Fox. Fox tried that long stretch pass, then ended up getting picked off going the other way. Marner makes the play over to Sam Bennett. So some puck management issues there. By and large, I thought they did a really good job of kind of defending Canada the way you have to defend them.
Yeah, and there were some other plays where I thought McDavid had opportunities and he just botched it.
Yeah,
you know, even in the offensive zone. But and you know, and then on the other side, like Austin Matthews, and I mean, how about Matthews? You know, Marner, these Maple Leafs who are coming up, they're playing their butts off in a big game on different sides of it. It's like showing up big in the big ones. What does that mean, Leafs fans?
Wow, I bet those Leafs fans are fired up today.
This is an omen.
Maybe so. I'm sure nothing bad will happen once playoff time comes around.
Yeah.
It never does for those guys.
It's finally their year.
Yeah, it could be at that point. Like, you know, I saw a lot of Predators fans watching this last night, obviously. And, you know, this year with the Predators is going the way it's going. If you missed our conversation with Adam Kimmelman yesterday, we got a little bit into the draft and what you could look forward to there if you're a Predators fan. But, like, I think this was a reminder of, like, high-level hockey. And I saw some people talking about this on Twitter last night, particularly when the game got to overtime. Like, that was a game where you were holding your breath on every play. And that's one of the best feelings in sports, is like sudden death, high-level overtime hockey. And it was beautiful to live that experience again last night with the team that you're invested in. It was good.
Yeah. I mean, right. That's the thing. It's like, I mean, certainly any Stanley Cup playoff, any game 7, certainly you get to like a game 7 of overtime. I mean, that's what it's like, right? But it is different when it's like, you know, when it's best on best, your country against another country, right? I mean,
I was legitimately bummed. Like when McDavid scored, my head dropped back. I was just like, oh God, you were right there. Like, it was. I did not think I would be that way heading into the tournament, but I was all in for that one last night.
Yeah, I was legitimately bummed when it didn't end in regulation. I'm like, God dang it! I needed this. I needed this sleep, but that's the thing. I'll be really interested to see the ratings on this, you know, and how it did. I mean, look, ESPN. I mean, to me, I could be wrong, but I feel like ESPN talked more hockey the last few days than they even talk like during the Stanley Cup final.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, like,
for sure. I don't think it's close.
And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have it on all day so that I'm like taking score on that. But it's just like, I mean, really, that's based on social media, like constant stream of different people talking about, like, holy crap, they're just really investing in this. That's great to see. Yeah,
they lean into it. Look, and to their credit, like, we've been critical of ESPN, not only their coverage sometimes of hockey, but like we've talked about the difference in quality, right, between the TNT broadcast and the ESPN broadcast. And I'm not saying that like last night's evens that gap, because I still think TNT is like really, really good at what they do with the NHL. I thought ESPN did a great job last night. Like, I thought PK was awesome in the coverage.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Messier guy just in terms of
doesn't say much,
the studio stuff, but I thought even he had some good stuff last night.
He liked to laugh at PK.
He did like to laugh at PK. I thought Sean McDonough called a great game last night.
Best play-by-play guy in sports.
I thought like leaning into like the mashup they did with the Herb Brooks speech from Miracle and leaning that into, I thought the production was great last night. I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, when they first showed Kurt Russell, I was like, really? But then the fact that they interspersed it with the team, I'm like,
was
okay,
pretty good.
that's all right.
Yeah.
That's not bad. No, Sean
My favorite
McDonough.
part was after they did that the first time. They were like, by the way, Miracle's still streaming on Disney Plus. Make sure you go check that out. It's like, thank you.
There you go.
We appreciate
you
it.
got to do that. I think I've said this before, but if not, let me just say it again. Sean McDonough is the best play-by-play announcer in sports, in my opinion, for a long time now. And if you're allowed to take into account versatility, I don't even think it's close. I mean, he does everything and he does it well. And I don't think you can find anybody else out there who does the variety that he does and can do it. I just think he has the perfect voice raise, voice squeaky at the huge moments thing. But yeah,
I remember
great,
he was the one doing the Titans and Chiefs when Mariota won the game. And the voice cracks a couple of times were awesome in that one.
Yeah, it's crazy how he seems to like be able to command that,
Like Officer Watson saying the game reminded me of Fisher's triple overtime winner. I mean that's a doozy. That's the thing about like just sudden death overtime. You have a couple chances on one end if you're Team USA. You don't convert, and then all it takes is one shot. Like McDavid got lost in coverage for 2 seconds, and that's the game right there.
And look, how often do we see it in hockey where all of a sudden the opportunities start getting juicy in the extra sessions? And it's just right. You're going to make more mistakes, and it's going to be hard to stick to your coverages at times. And that's not the guy.
Well,
that's not the guy.
And look, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We now are, less than a year away from best on best Winter Olympic hockey, which as great as this was, I'm looking forward to that more when, the stakes are really high.
I want
to see more teams,
other countries.
Yeah. You've got all of the best players in the world participating there. And I'm really interested to see what that looks like. But look, I think obviously around here, this is going to be the wish. I think if you're just a general hockey fan and you're not overly invested in the tournament and the countries playing it and all that, this will probably be your wish too. Like, I want U.S. and Canada again. I want it in the gold medal game. And I don't know what the seeding is going to look like. I don't know what the path is going to be to get there, but I want U.S. and Canada again for a gold medal next year.
Yeah, it'd be great. Certainly to play again.
Yeah.
And, then you get, I assume, we're talking pretty much the same teams.
Probably some differences here or there, but yeah, pretty much.
So, there's a rivalry aspect to that too, when you can have like the same guys going against each other. Those Kachucks, man, they're a terror. They get a shove in every chance they get.
Some of the hits that Brady was laying last night, it's like, good gracious. Like I saw
Who the heck did he just absolutely blast her to the Drew Doughty.
And he did it to Doughty on the first game too. And somebody tweeted like, Drew Doughty's gonna retire after this tournament for being just blasted by Brady Tkachuk over and over again. It was awesome. Somebody's mad at you for Kenny Albert slander, saying Joe just conveniently forgetting that Kenny Albert exists, does all 4 major sports, and does a fantastic job with all of them.
He's good. I don't think he's close to McDonough, but yeah, Kenny Albert's good.
Good guy.
He's fine. Yeah, super. What a nice guy. No, there's a lot of really good, and that's a good point. He has the versatility.
He does.
I think Sean McDonough is criminally underrated, and I hope something like this lets people realize how great he is at everything.
I've seen Kenny Albert call a water polo match.
Have you?
Yeah. I saw in the Olympics, I can't remember if it was the Olympics or if it was just some random match I saw, but Doc Emmerich back in the day used to call some water polo as well. Can you imagine?
That'd be awesome. I need to find that.
It was great.
Now, there's an when you talk about hockey only, okay.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, then we can talk about Doc Emmerich, but I'm just saying, like,
I go back and
of course
forth.
He's retired, but we talk about the whole thing. It's McDonough.
On a national level, like obviously I got a very soft spot for Pete Weber here, who's also the GOAT. But on a national level, I think like in terms of hockey, I go back and forth between Doc Emmerich and Gary Thorne being the greatest of all time.
Thorne was fantastic. I'll go with Doc, but back in the day when ESPN had it the first time around, Thorne was excellent, no doubt.
615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll take more of your thoughts on USA and Canada. Plus, Rexrode's got a draft take coming up next that I think is spicy. We'll get into it. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode's got a draft take that I think is spicy.
But first, Keezer, is this you admitting to us how you get through a week?
He's chuckling back there. He thought that was funny.
Let's play some cocaine at 6:30 in the morning. Just never know what that Keezer over there.
Yeah.
Don't know what that 8 ball does me.
Here we go.
Oh, knows the lingo too. Okay. You got to keep an eye
Deeper
on
into
you
this
there,
than we
buddy.
thought.
You and PK.
I've learned quite a bit in my hockey locker room days, Joe Rexrode.
What? What's going on in the locker room?
Lots of interesting conversations from my past, yes.
Okay. All right.
But no partaking.
Maybe
no.
Keezer needs a 30 for 30.
Yeah, maybe, man. This is going to be like one of those rockumentaries.
And I took that personally.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to go.
I'll transition from that.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm really serious about this, and I'm resolved. I've already maybe I'm doing these things too early, like like maybe late January or maybe the beginning of this month. I was like, now I'm out on the quarterbacks, and I'm not changing on that. I like them. I don't love them, and I think you've got to be talking like this is absolutely a generational quarterback or close to it to take a quarterback there in the draft. So I've said that, but now I'm taking another step, and this is via the draft, the mock draft that we did, because I got stuck. I couldn't trade. As I said yesterday, I couldn't trade out. And so I had to stick and pick. And so it comes down to that kind of the debate that we've had, which is Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. And you know what, man, I think Abdul Carter might be great. I really do. I'm more convinced that Travis Hunter will be great. Travis Hunter is going to be great. He's going to be a great cornerback. And yes, this is emboldened by more and more kind of people as they go through, study him. And we had Nick Baumgartner on, and he's like, to me, he's like the next Charles Woodson, which to me means the second best corner I've seen in the NFL in my lifetime.
Behind Trey Avery.
Yeah. He's top 10.
That's good.
So now, meanwhile, you can pick your favorite outs. And I know, again, there's still some people out there talking, receiver first. And TD has done that. I couldn't disagree more. I think we're talking about very good receiver versus all-time great cornerback. I do. And I think if he's that as a cornerback, then you have to take him. I understand that cornerback is it as important as edge? No, it's not as important as edge. But a great player, like a player that changes your franchise, I think he's that. Someone who I think is really good, although he looks like he's 11 years old, Benjamin Solak from ESPN. But I think he's really good. He's putting out some film on Hunter. He's got this. He's got a clip of him like missing a tackle, and it says the only bad rep on Travis Hunter's entire film. Then he shows another rep where he just does some ridiculous stuff. This is what Solak says. He's so stupid good. Will easily be the highest graded player on my board. If they keep the pick, the Titans should sprint to the podium with Hunter's name on the card. Again, saying that he's going to be an all-time great cornerback. He says, I think he'll be that for every team. I can't imagine taking any cornerback snaps away from Hunter. He's going to be one of the best man coverage cornerbacks in the league the day he dons the jersey. Again, I got people saying, yeah, man coverage doesn't do a lot. I don't care. Watch the guy play. He is going to stick to people and be immediately an athlete who stands out on a field as some of the best athletes in the world. That's how good he is. So if it comes down to that, Titans, I am in favor of if they can trade out, then I think that's, could they trade out and still get him? I think that's possible. We'll see. I think trading out is definitely something that you have to be serious about. But if they stick and pick, he's the guy. He is the pick. Cornerback.
Why do you think there's so much, I guess, versatility in the way that he's viewed at cornerback, just in terms of how people view him and how good he's going to be at the NFL level?
I guess this would be an interesting thing to go through everyone, but I know Brugler is all like, he's a corner. He's an elite corner. and he can do some stuff for you receiver. I think it's pretty strong.
There's a lot of people saying that he should play wide receiver
like
in the NFL.
So yeah, and that's why it'd be good to kind of like go through and divvy that up, team receiver, team cornerback, and compare it. I mean, obviously we've talked to TD and he's team receiver. Stilly, who apparently can't be bothered to make our show today. I mean, whatever. I mean, I take TD seriously on it. Stilly says whatever. It's, who else have we got? Who else have we got on team receiver? I mean, you're right. I've definitely heard other people do it.
Yep.
I actually, what Stilly said, I agree with him philosophically, which is if it is equal, would you rather have the guy who's scoring touchdowns? And yeah. Like if he's that level of player, if he's the same level of player at corner or receiver, then I agree. I'd go receiver. I don't think it's close that he is. I really don't. He's such a great athlete, and he's got great hands. He's a defensive back with great hands. So like, yeah, I would want to play him some at receiver. But like people who think that this is like he's considered number one, I think this is the big mistake some people are making. They think that he's considered this level of player just because he can play both. Yep. I think that's a bonus. But we all know in this league, you aren't making it 3 years if you're really going to try to play that many snaps in an NFL game. You aren't. You are going to get hurt, and everybody in the league knows that. So yes, to me, and also I flip it around. You're sprinkling him in at corner? Like what?
I don't know what that does. Like I've seen some where like he should play receiver, and then like in the fourth quarter of a tight game, go play corners. Like
if he's
Travis, you haven't played all game at corner, but get out there and go shut down Justin Jefferson.
If he can do that, he's got to play the whole game.
Yeah, I agree.
You can win the game. You don't wait till the fourth quarter. I mean, but sprinkling it on offense, Charles Woodson and Dion. I mean, both those guys did that with some success. I could see it being a little bit more with him, but yeah, I just that's a good project though, and to try to like all these guys, Matt Miller and Daniel Jeremiah and all the Kuiper and put everybody, pick a team, and I'm sure between all of them you can find the analysis. You have to pick a side with him. I'm stunned when people pick receiver and that's just based on watching him in college. I was like, man, what a good playmaker, man. He's really good. Cornerback, it's insane in my opinion. It's like you don't come across these guys very often at all.
Well, I've said that part of the allure to him for me would be his ability to play offense. Now, I understand Titans fans, they're hearing you talk about corner right now. And they're like, well, that's great, but we need a wide receiver. We need an edge rusher. We need a quarterback. We need an offensive lineman. I would say this. If the Titans look at Hunter and they agree with your assessment that he could be an elite level corner, I don't care that you have cornerbacks on your team. You take the elite player at that point, and you worry about the quote-unquote surplus at that position later on, which, by the way, I don't know that there is a surplus at that position because I have no idea if L'Jarius Sneed is going to be able to get on the field at any point.
Sneed and Awuzie might have 80 snaps between them left in this league. I have no idea. The Titans better hope not, but I don't know. I feel good about Brownlee, and McCreary is solid.
Yeah.
And yeah, you hope those. Yeah, you don't base a decision like this. This is someone that if he is what I think he is, he's going to be with you for a decade, and he's going to be one of the best. Currently, think of what Jalen Ramsey, even for a few years, was. And it faded. Usually, it doesn't last that long. But like that's why he got paid the way he did. Like it makes a big difference for a defense. You take away half the field, you can travel with anybody and just say, go get that guy. Like even the top guys. You know how valuable that is? Incredibly valuable.
So Rexrode has thrown it out there. He has made the decision for the Titans. It's Travis Hunter, and he believes Travis Hunter should play corner. Your thoughts on that? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Friday morning. Robby and Rexrode brought to you by First Horizon, big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Visit firsthorizon.com/get-it-all. Taking your thoughts on Joe Rexrode's draft strategy. He's thrown it out there. Travis Hunter's the guy, and Travis Hunter should play corner. Rexrode believes he's going to be an elite cornerback in the NFL. Your thoughts on that? 615-737-1025. One texter says, Travis Hunter isn't that good. Y'all need to calm down. Look at the competition he played, lowest level of the Power Four. Rexrode, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he didn't play any good. Didn't play any good receivers in college. Is that right? He didn't play anybody good. I mean, I would have preferred to see him in the SEC too. You know? I mean, if all these players who went out of college football, if you could put them in the SEC, it's historically, and I still believe today, the best competition. But that's another one too to look into. I don't think there's much to that. He played some very good players. I'm trying to think in the Big 12. I mean, TCU's got two guys who are, like potential top 2-round picks. There's one team that comes to mind right away. I'll research that too. Ed says, let Joe cook. There we go, baby. Yeah. Ed's on my team.
Josh on the text line says, I would absolutely use him as cornerback all game. I'd have special offensive plays that I'd use him on like 3rd and long where you absolutely need the yardage or something like that. Defense thinks we're running, and boom, a bomb to Travis Hunter. Let's say they go your route and they draft him, and the goal is for him to be the shutdown corner. I would be interested to see, like, and maybe it doesn't happen immediately, but as his career moves along, like how involved would the Titans make him on offense? You talking like 4 plays a game, 2 plays a game, 6 plays a game? I'd be interested to see what that looks like with him. I mean, I think at some point you probably lean into it a little bit. I'm with you. Like the idea, and I know he's talked about this, that he wants to play both sides of the ball in the NFL, and that's great. Like you're asking yourself to get hurt at that point if you're doing it for any substantial amount of time, just with the snaps that you're playing and the level of physicality that you're exposing yourself to. So I don't think you'd see it a lot, but I would be interested if it's the Titans or anybody else. Like, and they view him as that elite shutdown corner. Do you even mess with him on the offensive side of the ball? And if so, how limited is it at that point?
Yeah. And then, and of course you get the offense, you get the special teams, which we talked about, and then look, there's a real injury risk, with that element. But, that's one of those where it's like, okay, you need a play made. Do you feel good like just throwing it back there for the occasional punt return? I'm going back and forth with Brent on YouTube who says Jalen Ramsey's a good comp. How many years was he a true impact player? Most elite corners have a short window of dominance, not worth the first overall pick. And I threw Deion Sanders and Charles Woodson at him. Again, I'm talking best of the best. Deion Woodson, again, we had Nick Baumgartner on last week, and he said basically like he is like Woodson is the comp, and Nick Baumgartner knows Charles Woodson as well as anyone, covered him and all that stuff. So it's lofty, okay? And what happens a lot in the NFL is you get these comparisons, and then someone goes in the league and they play 4 years and they were pretty good for 2 of them. I mean, that's possible. But like as a prospect, you watch him play football. That's what he is. He's that level of player. And don't throw at me that he didn't play anybody good or the Big 12 sucks. That's why the guy won the Heisman. That's why he was the #1 recruit coming out of high school. Everything about him consistently has said like he is different. He is a different level of athlete, even at this level where it's, again, the best in the world.
Well, by the way, I mean, Jalen Ramsey was a Pro Bowler up until last year in 2023.
He had a good run. Yeah.
Like
it
wasn't that short. Like,
right.
Like I understand like Jalen Ramsey has fallen off a little bit and he's not what he used to be. And he was also a pretty big part of them winning a Super Bowl in 2021 in LA. Like he's, his first year was 16. So, he's been in the league 9 years. Would you like, if you drafted Travis Hunter #1 overall, would you like for him to be an elite corner for the next like 12 to 14 years? Sure. But like if you guaranteed me 8 or 9, Okay, we'll figure the rest of it out later at that point.
Yeah, and here's another. This is, this is a narrative that I don't understand, but it's popular. Brent says different league back then. Corners could make a different impact. This league's about pass rushers. Secondary has no chance with that one. There's no difference, man. The secondary has always been better if there's a pass rush, if the quarterback's affected, if the quarterback has less time. Also, like, you have to have corners. Again, would I take the elite generational edge over the elite generational corner? Yes, I would. But to sit here and say, yeah, corners, they don't. This league is about passing and it's about defending the pass. That's both throwing it, catching it, rushing the passer, covering pass receivers. Those are all the most important things. Notice that covering the pass receivers is part of that. You don't think that's important? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to you.
Well, and also, like, you've got a chance to take a pass rusher here too. The question is, do you think that Abdul Carter is an elite generational pass rusher?
And
that's the question.
And if you told me, everybody has to make the Micah Parsons comp because they both went to Penn State. I mean, I think that's why. But if you told me he's something close to that, then I'll change my mind.
Yeah,
I will. But I think he's going to be a very good player. And I think Travis Hunter is the guy out of this draft that is most a lock to be great.
Manny from Clarksville on the text line says, I don't know how you could say the Titans won't take a QB when they haven't even talked to Cam Ward yet.
We're not saying they won't.
I don't even think we've said that they won't.
I never
like you
said
that you wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm saying I would not. Right. Like, and then again, that's just based on watching them play. The Titans in the interviews could tilt it either way, right? The interviews are important for the team, for sure. They could tilt it either way. But as you've said and we've talked about, are the interviews going to, overcome or completely change, like, your impression based on the film, based on what you have seen this player do, this player or that player do on the field?
I would hope not.
Yeah.
But
they're important.
They are important. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot more of your reaction on Rexrode's Travis Hunter tape to get to coming up next. We'll do that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, brought to you by First Horizon, Big Bank Muscle, Small Bank Hustle. Visit firsthorizon.com/get-it-all. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keys are here with you on this Friday morning. Normally joined by Stilly at this time, but not today, Rexrode. No Stilly today.
How come?
Don't know.
What's going on, Stilly?
Just got a text message at almost 1 in the morning last night that 7 wasn't going to work. So
almost 1 in the morning, huh? So we already had to deal with this crap from him being on Bourbon Street. A young father. Time to be responsible in the world, young father.
yeah. Just out to all hours of the night.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. You know, again, every Wednesday, about 5 o'clock.
Without fail.
Take time out of my day, out of my life, to come on your show for 45 minutes is what it is, and have to hear you and Caroline talk about how NBA players don't care. They all just go out there like, whatever. I'm going to pretend I have an injury. I have to do this every week. You can't give us 15 minutes at 7 a.m. on a Friday because you are just such a man about town. You just got to go carousing around it. Was the song you played earlier for Stilly? Was that in Stilly's honor?
At least it's local this time.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Keeping it around here.
Next week, he'll be in Vegas. The week after that, Portland, Oregon. I don't know. Pretty irresponsible, Stilly. Pretty disappointing.
At what point do you throw just a protest and you don't go on Jared versus Joe?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to say it and say it publicly to Chase too, if you're listening, Chase. Yeah. Jared versus Joe switches to Wednesday at 8 a.m. Oh, wait. What do we have, Koharski?
Yeah. We'll find the time.
Wednesday at 7 a.m.
Sure. There we go.
Jared versus Joe, Wednesdays at 7 a.m. from now on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Check it out, everybody.
Yep.
That's going to be the new schedule. No longer will it be on Stillman and Company. It will now be on Robby and Rexrode. Jared versus Joe, Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Check it out. All right. Woo! Programming announcement.
We will not keep him for 45 minutes.
No, you will. I mean, yeah, most of that is him bloviating. I don't really blame Caroline for that. So, but a lot of times we only get to like 3 questions because it's like, I mean, the oxygen that he sops up like a biscuit and gravy when he's in the same room as anybody else, it's incredible. Like, dude, keep your thoughts
going on out there.
Yeah, I hope he's sopping up something right now. Good Lord, man.
Take your thoughts.
Get your crap together, Stilly.
737-1025 is our phone number.
A 9-minute run.
Yeah. A lot of thoughts on the text line of your draft takes right now. Some people all in on Travis Hunter being number 1. But I think, Joe, what continues to trickle in is what I've talked about. I think a lot of Titans fans are cool with Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, but they're really cool with Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter if you're able to trade down, pick up additional picks, and still land one of those two. Now, how realistic is that going to be by the time the draft comes around? I have no idea. I don't know. That would be great if you could find a way to do that. But we've got a lot of questions about Cam Ward on the text line too. Like, are people going to be in love enough with a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders to trade up where you could do that, where you could move down to a 3 or a 4 and you could still end up drafting an Abdul Carter or a Travis Hunter? I don't know. What you've done is say, hey, if this works out the way it did in your athletic mock draft and nobody's willing to move up, take Travis Hunter at number 1. And be happy with that decision of taking Travis Hunter at number 1. That's the way you've gone here.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, again, I tried to trade. So, I mean, I tried to get out of there. I made it very clear to all the other fake GMs that this baby's up for grabs. Multiple times I remind, hey, everybody, don't forget about me. Got that number 1 pick. Don't hesitate. You know where to find me.
Give me your best call.
Yeah. And like I said, the Raiders dabbled with it, and the Raiders, I mean, they ended up in great shape. They got their guy at 4. But, yeah, like, is it possible to trade down? Is it possible, like, the Giants are absolutely in love with Cam Ward, or whatever the scenario is, where you could trade down just a little bit, pick up another pick, and still get one of those 2 guys? Like, in our mock draft, after I did that, the Browns took Abdul Carter, and some people were like, well, they're not going to do that. Or, if they're not trading Myles Garrett, again, take great players. And look, I could be wrong on Abdul Carter. I think there's a lot of people who would advocate for him as the number one pick if you have to stick and pick and you're not doing a quarterback. I feel more certain about what Travis Hunter is. I just do. Abdul Carter, you got to remember, and this doesn't always mean a lot, but it is a limited sample size of production in college football. I mean, I watched him in the playoff, and he was unblockable. So, I mean, look, the guy is very talented. He's worthy of being talked about there. It's just, it just, to me, it's like, is there enough there to know for sure? I have more certainty with Travis Hunter.
I got one texter that says the Titans need to draft Jalen Walker or Michael Williams. They need a better D-line. But we all know the Titans won't draft anyone good like usual. Look who was still on the wide receiver board when they drafted Treylon Burks. Multiple Ohio State, Bama wide receivers, and George Pickens. Amy Adams-Strunk has ruined this organization. This is from an unnamed texter on the text line. Very down on the Titans and Amy Adams-Strunk.
I get the pessimism. I do. But we don't all know anything. We don't all know what. First of all, there is a new GM, even if he's assistant to the regional manager. Brinker has been here, but they've got new voices in there. They got new brains in there. They still have a lot of the same scouts, but we don't know anything. The thing with Amy Adams-Strunk is you just hope she stays out of it.
Right.
And you hope that she got lucky with some of the people who are now running the organization.
I got another text that says, is there any chance we draft Cam Ward and actually let him sit and develop him like McNair?
Well, I mean, we've talked about Cam Ward. He's played a lot of football. It's so hard to compare the eras. And obviously there's great sitting examples in the NFL now. So I'm not saying like we're pro sitting. But you think about like McNair coming out of Alcorn State in 1996, 97, right? I mean, the NFL then and college football then, and I don't even know what the heck Alcorn State was running. But college football in the NFL at that time, it was very different. And
95, by the way.
95. Okay, my bad. Whereas there's a lot more scheme overlap between the two. Now, there's still like Tennessee's offense, for example. You can't do a lot of what they do in the NFL. So there's an example of a college scheme that does not translate. Vanderbilt's scheme, that does not translate much to the NFL. But there's a lot of the same concepts that have crossed over, which really happened, almost 20 years ago. But it's been a gradual thing. So like a lot of these guys are more ready. Now, the ones who play in those offenses in the NFL where it's look to the sideline every time. I mean, there's a big adjustment there. But, bottom line, you're never going to see, unless you have an Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and it's like, well, he's not going to get unseated. But you're never going to see, like, the 2-year plan as a plan, right? I mean, that's just not going to happen.
When's the last time a quarterback was taken number 1 overall and sat? I don't know the answer. Like, I was it like, did Eli sit for a little while? I think Eli sat behind Kurt Warner for a little while.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah.
But like, Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, none of those guys sat. Andrew Luck did not sit. Cam Newton, I don't think sat. So, like, when's the last time a number 1 overall pick at quarterback?
Yeah,
set out.
That's definitely more of an old school thing. And look, obviously, when you're did Bradford play right away?
That's the one I don't remember. I don't remember if Bradford did, but let's say he didn't. That would have been 2010. Would have been the last time.
And obviously, if you're the number 1 pick, it means you're probably going to a team that's it's terrible.
Yeah,
and in all likelihood, it doesn't even have a veteran who's even like decent, right? Now, some of those teams you can do like the Colts did. They go get Minshew because they plan to sit Anthony Richardson, and they're like, well, Richardson's better, so play him.
Right.
Which I think was a mistake.
Well, the one thing that could be different, like going back beyond like 2021 or 2020, the quarterback market in the offseason and the movement in the offseason just wasn't as prevalent. I mean, it's been a new age in the NFL in terms of quarterback movement in the offseason. So, look, I'm not saying if you take Cam Ward at number 1 that you just have to play him, because very rarely have teams taken a quarterback at number 1 and not played him. Like, you don't have to do that.
No.
But it just hasn't happened very often throughout the history of the draft when you look back at it, particularly recently. Now, again, there's more options, not great options, but more options at veteran quarterback that you could pair along with him this year than maybe we've seen in the past. So,
right,
a different situation.
Yeah. You could end up with a very different looking quarterback room and be able to have a little bit of runway. It's doubtful to me that you'd get through a whole year still, but maybe, depending on who the veteran is and depending on what you do to shore things up. I mean, if you can all of a sudden have a decently productive offense with the bridge QB, then you could have that time. But as soon as you start losing a couple games and are the Titans going to get out of the vortex of scoring 17 as their ceiling? I mean, I guess if those things change, then you might be able to pull it off, but it's probably not going to last long.
Maybe some second half touchdowns next year.
Wow, what a thought.
That'd be amazing. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. More of your thoughts on the draft to get to. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode later this hour as well. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. An amendment needed on my front, Joe. Case Keenum started the year for the Rams in 2016. Shout out to Manny on the text line and to Big Joe as well for pointing that out. So Case Keenum began the season as the starting quarterback for the Rams in 2016 ahead of Jared Goff.
Big Joe setting us straight. Yeah, so apparently Fisher was with them last year and told them about sitting Goff, and then Kroenke got mad, and that was one reason he got fired. So there you go. Well, it's been an interesting road for Jared Goff.
It has. It has.
Might be about to go the other way.
And as you pointed out, who knew that even at that time, better things were in store for Case Keenum beyond the starting quarterback job of the Rams at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. At that point, he was definitely giving up on, and he had a brief, but a nice little resurgence there.
Very memorable
it's
playoff game.
Yes, it was. Sorry about that, Saints fans. Sorry for bringing that up.
Tell you what, Saints fans have had a run.
Oh God,
that back to back, or that was at least within like 2 or 3 years.
Oh, it was at least 2 out of 3 years. Yeah. That and let me just destroy your receiver in front of the ref, and we'll just hope he doesn't throw a flag somehow.
The Minneapolis Miracle, and then the
New Orleans. No, you didn't.
Was that pass interference? Did they call it? No. That was good Jared Goff's line. Did they call it? I don't think so.
Is that what he said? Oh, God.
Let's head back to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Dylan to the program. Dylan, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm absolutely enamored with the idea of having Travis Hunter as a Tennessee Titan. I'm all about that. And I wanted to ask Joe and also you, Robby, as well, because I think if I want him, I want him to play receiver. But if you could have it, this is Sports Talk Radio. I'm gonna throw a weird hypothetical out here. If you were guaranteed he's gonna have the career of like Darrelle Revis or Justin Jefferson, I mean, who would you take him at right now? And also, just a little bonus here. Special teams. I think he could be a great special teams player. I'm going to be honest. I haven't followed his career at Colorado very well, but I mean, if that guy can return punts too, I mean, it's a major thing. Just let me pose that question to you: Darrelle Revis or Justin Jefferson? And I'll hang up and let you guys talk.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it. Well, look, if you're throwing those two, I'll take Justin Jefferson.
Me too. Me too.
If you tell me that Travis Hunter as a wide receiver is going to be Justin Jefferson, then I'll take them. Now, that's a pretty high bar. Justin Jefferson is an elite wide receiver. Is Travis Hunter going to be that in the NFL at wide receiver? That's going to be hard to live up to. I mean, look, being Darrelle Revis on the other side of the ball is going to be hard to live up to as well. But if you're asking me high-level wide receiver, high-level cornerback, I'll take the high-level wide receiver every time.
Yes, absolutely. And there's some people who, again, knock Hunter on not being big. He's got to bulk up a little bit, but that's also applies to the receiver position. If we're going to try to make a Justin Jefferson comparison, he's not. That's not what he is physically, right? So, I mean, look, he's not a huge guy. So, on either side of the ball, the best receivers, for the most part, in the NFL. I mean, I'd say with the exception of Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a slot guy, who's a little guy, but for the most part, they're big, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", physical guys who can win 50-50 along with great speed. He's got the speed. Yeah.
Like to your point, Tyreek Hill, not a big guy.
Well, Tyreek Hill,
but can run past literally everyone. So,
yes, if you're him, then that's right. But Chase, Jefferson, AJ, who are the other the best receivers in the NFL right now? I mean, Kupp, not a tall guy, but a physical guy when he was a dominant player. Actually, Puka Nacua, I think, is one of the best players out there. Again, a very stout guy for a receiver. But so the physicality thing with Hunter, he's got to bulk up some, but some people have taken that as like he can't play man. I don't know, man. I disagree strongly. Now, I know some people have pointed out to us that, DVD had I kind of like this. I was listening to this when they were doing this, the banned terms, including generational. Generational is a big term.
Yes.
It does. It means
It's an overused term.
Yeah,
yeah.
It is. It is overused. But that's, to me, is why you take him, because, yes, he's like we're talking about Woodson and Dion, okay? I mean, that's what it means. Like, the next generation of, like, the great, great corner. And there's other great guys out there. People have brought up Surtain. Revis is a good one to bring up. Ramsey had his run. I'm talking better than that.
Well, if I would say, like, if that's what you think he is, then don't even entertain trading down. Just take him. Like, if you think that if the Titans are doing their evaluation and they think that Travis Hunter is that, they think that he's Deion Sanders, they think that he's Charles Woodson, why would you even entertain the possibility of trading down? I wouldn't take the risk that anybody would take him. I would just say, yeah, guys, we appreciate your phone calls. We appreciate your trade offers. We're going to stick at number one, and we're going to take Travis Hunter. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and maybe they will. And Dustin from Hawkinsville claims that there's 3+ teams that are begging for the pick. I don't know. Are there? We'll see. Someone else brought up the point with that pick of the Titans should pretend that they love Cam Ward to help them. Let's remember, we've been talking about the Rams and that trade. I mean, let's remember, like, when that trade happened, everybody knew the Titans were either not taking a quarterback there or they were trading out. Everybody knew that, right? Now, the difference is that people were desperate to get Jared Goff more so than anybody's desperate to get either Cam Ward or Shooter Sanders, as far as we know. But it really comes down to the other team. It really comes down to, is there a team out there who, after all the evaluation, all the information's in, there's like, Cam, we have to have him, or Shedeur, we have to have him. And I don't know. I don't think what the Titans do is going to matter there.
Andrew on the text line says, you got to take Abdul Carter, Joe, because Travis Hunter doesn't eat corned beef. Is this a real thing? Has he said that he doesn't like corned beef? Because that may change Rexrode's opinion on him right now.
Wait a minute now. I have not heard this. This could be a game changer. Who's saying this? Is that on the text line or on the YouTube?
Text line. It's pretty far ways back.
Okay, I missed that one. I need to investigate
that could be a big factor for Rexrode.
Yeah, corned beef hash, that is, like, if you don't eat corned beef hash, I have to question everything about you, basically.
I had the opportunity.
Corned beef on its own, I love that too. But corned beef hash.
I had the opportunity when I was in Colorado a few months ago to eat corned beef hash and instead elected for a pancake. And I thought of you the whole time. I was like, he would be incredibly disappointed in me right now.
Why wouldn't you have both?
Well, I mean, I had the pancake, I had sausage, I had eggs, I had hash brown casserole. Like, there's a certain point where you're like, probably should stop.
Yeah, but that's not the point, man.
Probably not.
Yeah, swap it in. Good Lord. This was like at where was
that?
This?
Some diner in Golden, Colorado, right? It was right across the street from the Coors Light plant, which we did not go to, but it was there.
I bet you that was amazing corned beef.
Probably was.
That hurts my soul.
I'm sorry. I thought of you. I was like, I even told Heather, I was like, Rexrode, if he knew what I was doing right now, be very upset with me.
Don't ever turn down the corned beef hash.
615-737-1025, our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the draft. We'll have the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode at 7:45. Teron Davenport will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that coming up later in the program. Tune in today to 94.9 The Fan for Vanderbilt baseball as the Commodores host St. Mary's. Pregame at 1:45, first pitch at 2 o'clock. Coverage also available on the 94.9 The Fan app and at 949thefan.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Tune in today to 94.9 The Fan, which I've already read, so I'm not going to do that again. But there's Vanderbilt baseball taking place later today. Make sure you're tuned in for that.
You can say it again, just like you can eat corned beef hash for every meal if you want. Gout be darned.
First pitch at 2 o'clock today for Vanderbilt baseball, in case you missed it the first time. Do have some tickets to give away. A 4-pack of tickets to the Athletes Unlimited Professional Basketball game at Nashville Municipal Auditorium coming up this Sunday. Tip-off at 4:30. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. Caller 3 will win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Athletes Unlimited Professional Basketball games at the Municipal Auditorium going up this Sunday, 615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot of different thoughts on Joe's Travis Hunter take on the draft part of this here. I think here's what I also think is going on. Let's say that by the time the draft rolls around, there's a general consensus that Travis Hunter's best position is cornerback in the NFL. I think because of the need that the Titans have at wide receiver, it's going to be really hard for a lot of Titans fans to get over, hey, his best position is not the position that you need him to be the most, right? Like his best position is corner, if that's the way that they end up evaluating this thing. I still say, like, if you think that he's a great player, then I'm not going to say it doesn't matter what position he plays, because if you think he's a great punter, then it matters. You're not taking a great punter that high in the draft. But when you're talking about like a corner it's a premium position. Like you're talking about a position that's really important. Is it quarterback? No. Is it edge rusher? Probably not. But it's right there. Like it's a very important position in this league. So I understand the thought process of, well, you paid L'Jarius Sneed all this money. You traded a 3rd-round pick to go get him. You got a Woozy coming in that, he got healthy toward the end of last year. Hopefully he can be healthy this year. And you feel like if those guys are healthy, that your position there is set. I get that. Number one, we talked about it earlier. I don't trust either one of those guys. And number two, like even let's say it works out great for the Titans and everybody's healthy at corner next year. Like, wouldn't it be great to have a guy like Hunter that you feel like is an answer there for the next decade that can be an elite player? Like, having a little bit of depth doesn't hurt, even though I realize there are more positions of need than cornerback right now.
Yeah, just like next year's team, if you're picking at number 1, it has to be an 8-year hope, right? And that's way beyond whatever the heck they look like next year. So, and like we said, these two veterans, who the heck knows?
Well, and as I've said, more than anything, what I want for the Titans, they are in shortage of a lot of things. They're in shortage of a lot of these positions. You know what they're in shortage of the most, Joe? Elite players. They need elite players. And I don't really care how they get them. Just bring in some elite players.
Yes. Now, look, this would be, and I'm trying to look up where those guys both went. If we're making the comparisons, we're gonna go that lofty with Travis Hunter. This would be the first corner taken number 1. Again, that's why to me, taking him as a receiver number 1 is wild. I understand the both sides thing. It does add value. It does add value to him for sure. But I still wouldn't like that versatility to me is not enough for it to be number 1. It's got to be because you are that great at one or the other. You have to be. You have to be elite, absolutely top of the league at one or the other, which again, I think is corner. But yes, he would. So that if that's why they're taking him, he would be the first corner taken with the number 1 pick. I mean, unless, I don't know, you want to go back to like the 50s, and I found Gary Glick, Colorado A&M defensive back, to the Steelers. So that would be the closest to this. So I don't remember where Dion went, or where I know Woodson was like right. I mean, it was like Manning Leaf, obviously, and Woodson was not far behind in that draft after beating Manning for the Heisman.
Dion was 5th overall.
Dion was 5th overall.
In 89.
So, and who went first? Oh, that would have been the Aikman draft, right? Yep. 89 was the Aikman draft of the Cowboys. So, usually, it's quarterbacks. You do sometimes, from time to time see edges go. Obviously, Walker just 3 years ago. Myles Garrett in 2017, Clowney in 14. Mario Williams to the Texans. The Texans love taking those edges with the number 1 overall pick. Courtney Brown at Penn State in that happens from time to time. Corner does not. So yeah, you're talking making history here.
Listen to the first 5 picks of the 1989 draft. Got Aikman at 1, Hall of Famer. Tony Mandarich at 2. Barry Sanders at 3.
Yes.
Derek Thomas at 4. And Deion Sanders at 5.
That's pretty good.
That's 4 Hall of Famers.
Yes.
Out of 5 picks.
I remember as much as I loved Tony Mandarich, as one of the most dominant linemen ever, also a little bit chemically altered.
A lot of that today on the program.
There was also a lot of that going around in college football back then. Boy, that was like the old school anabolic stuff.
Oh yeah.
Whew. But boy, was I happy when the Packers took him and let the Lions have Barry Sanders. Oh my goodness, what a day!
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It didn't matter.
It did not,
because the Packers ended up getting quarterbacks, unlike the Lions.
I mean, I'd have to go through it, but that's got to be like of your first 5 picks. That's got to be like one of the greatest draft classes ever, right? Four Hall of Famers.
4 Hall of Famers out of 5.
First 5 picks.
Yeah, there can't be too many top 5s that had 80% Hall of Famers.
Oh, it's pretty good.
This year, there's only going to be
By the
one
way,
of the 5. His name's Travis Hunter. Draft him.
Not only Hall of Famers, but like, Deion Sanders, one of the greatest players ever. Barry Sanders, one of the greatest players ever. Like Derek Thomas, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like it's not just Hall of Famers.
Well,
it's like surefire Hall of Fame.
The 2 Sanderses are arguably the best players at their positions of all time.
Exactly.
That's pretty strong.
Pretty good draft.
Yep, not bad.
Pretty good draft. So, that's a lot. It's a lofty comparison, right? Like Deion Sanders, Charles Woodson is a lofty comparison.
But that's why the word generational should not be thrown around lightly.
I agree.
That's what if that's true, it is applicable. It is used correctly in this situation.
Well, and again, if that's true, then if I'm the Titans, I no longer have any interest in trading out. Like if you need to make sure you land one of those guys. And look, they've said that. Like, and I think, it got, people ran with it like Schefter, who weren't in the room when it was said at the time, but people talk, the generational stuff of, well, we're not passing on a generational player. Well, that's what you think Travis Hunter is. And everybody started thinking immediately about quarterback when he said that. But if that's what you think Hunter is, then I think it's easy at that point. Look, I'll say the same thing. Like if you look at Abdul Carter and you think that he is an elite pass rusher, take him. Like I've said it a million times. You're in desperate need of elite players. And you need a lot of players, but you need elite players more than you need the quantity of players.
I agree. And again, if it's similar levels of elite for both of them, then I would go with Carter too. I have my doubts that it will be. Texter says, I get a good laugh out of all these player comps that start flying around during draft time. Not every top pick is going to be Hall of Fame caliber. A lot end up like Corey Davis, decent player, but never reach their ceiling. Well, yeah, and some end up worse than him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And look, I mean, it's a big statement talking about Travis Hunter like he's one of those guys, like one of the handful of players at a position that we're going to talk about when he's done. I understand that. I'm just telling you, especially, and some people have brought up, now I got to bring this up to TD at the top of the hour after, he's had more time to look at this stuff. There's a lot of talk about Hunter and the scheme at Colorado. They play a lot of zone. He didn't play a ton of man.
No.
He needs to be physical. Can you play press man? I understand all that, but the fact that they didn't do it does not mean he can't do it at all. And I'm going to go back with Benjamin Solak, who says, as soon as he puts on the jersey, he's one of the best man coverage corners in the NFL right now. And I believe that too. I think it's all there in what he did at Colorado, and we'll see.
But
I'm talking some of you into it.
This is player comparison season, right? Like,
yeah.
I saw Booger McFarland. Everybody's talking about Abdul Carter and Micah Parsons. Well, Booger McFarland threw out there the other day that Jalen Walker reminds him of Micah Parsons. Like, it's just, this is what it's going to be from now until the draft. It's player comparison season.
Now, I heard Mr. I need 4 Excedrin. Oh, my God. I need to throw up in the toilet again here before I go get breakfast. Stilly talking the other day about somebody whose comp was Harold Landry. And I forget, it was one of the edges that was a little down, which first of all, that was kind of refreshing because it's like, oh, a comp to like a regular player.
A good player. Yeah.
But also he's like, oh my God, never. I'm like, well, I mean, the thing is, like, there's plenty of first-round picks who will absolutely not reach that level. Harold
sure.
Landry's been a
Harold
good
Landry's
player
been
in
a
the
good
league.
player. Like,
I mean, I know everybody wants it to be the Micah Parsons. No, I want Myles Garrett, but like if you get in the first round someone who is good enough to get a second deal, and what does Landry? What does Landry have? 60 sacks in his career,
Probably around there. Yeah.
something like that. I mean, guys, you can do way worse than that.
of course, now you've got, I mentioned his comparison season. Like, I think Lewis Riddick hopped on First Take the other day and compared Cam Ward to Jaden Daniels, like the newest, it's the newest example we have. And it's like, all right, okay, here we go.
That's bad. Jaden Daniels is one of the best running quarterbacks I've seen in college football. And also,
I don't know if he
accuracy
compared him
and-
like 100% like player for player, but I think he was more talking about like impact that he could have
Okay.
right away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if you're talking that's fine. But yeah, as a player comp, I don't think that's. Yeah. Okay.
But that's the
Yeah,
time
it's always got to be that,
Yeah,
right?
it's always gotta be-
it's got to be the best of the best.
615-737-1025, our phone number. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
You have a league that says my product's inferior. Let's pause it for 2 weeks and
I
let
don't
everybody
think
go play in
That's
some
not
tournament that includes
no.
4 countries, 2 countries that nobody cares about.
Like, we're pausing the league for this. You're taking, again, there's a lot of the greatest players in this league are Russian, so they're just out. They're not invited. I'm
They shouldn't be invited.
I'm really bothered, and yes, maybe this is like because I was relegated to writing like Ellie Tolvanen's going to be awesome columns from Pyeongchang 7 years ago because they wouldn't send NHL guys to the Olympics.
It is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode.
I stand by it.
It's good stuff.
I stand by
Good
it.
stuff from you and PK last week.
But it turned out pretty good. Turned out pretty
It turned
good.
out all right.
Pretty good.
Turned out pretty nice. Rexrode, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I have to I don't want to be one of those, oh, what could have been and I got screwed and all that stuff, but I'm going to. Man, I won Pigskin Pick'em. We go in the Super Bowl. Knicks up 89-86, okay? Super Bowl is, I need a Hail Mary. I need to have an incredible week. Eagles. Pick the Eagles. Nick picks the Chiefs. Dub for me, okay? Make up a point. We all took the under. We all lost. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of discounting you, Robby.
Yeah, thanks. I also participated in this competition.
You are buying the pizza for one of us. Okay. Jalen Hurts in the passing. I take the over. Nick takes the under. Easily a win for me. Oh, my goodness. Saquon Barkley, 100 or not. No for me. Nick, yes. Dub for me. Oh, my goodness. Anytime touchdown. Now, Nick has A.J. Brown as a lock. 2 points for him. But I got Hurts. 1 point for me. What does that mean? That means with 5 precincts reporting and basically the game over. The final standings, Joe, 80-58, 12-22 on his locks, 92 points. Nick, 74-64, 17-6 on his locks, 91 points. I win because Patrick Mahomes is way under on the passing yards. Patrick Mahomes passing 250.5. Under lock for me. The 2 points to win the competition, 250.5. He was under 200 when the game was over. Nick has the over on that. It's a win. It's an incredible, stirring victory for Pigskin Pick'em for me. And the Eagles have the ball. And I'm at a Super Bowl party. And, I guess I'll have a 19th chicken wing. People are barely watching the game anymore. Basically waiting for the commercials now to see if there's any other good commercials. It's over. I am absolutely locked in. Eagles, just freaking get 1 first down. And you run out the damn clock. And I can celebrate all night. And what do? They freaking mess around. What were the Eagles' plays here? You got Kenny Pickett in. Okay, fine. You're at your 46. Okay, onside kick doesn't work. There's 2:52 left. Again, you get 1 first down. You are now under the 2-minute warning, and it's over. Okay, Gainwell for 4. Fine. Timeout number 3 by Kansas City. Okay. Gainwell for 1. Okay. You get down to, so now the clock is running. 3rd and 5. Gainwell gets -1, 2-minute warning. 4th and 6 at the 50. Punt the freaking ball. So what do? A Kenny Pickett pass. I mean, if you, it doesn't matter if you pass because obviously the clock stops.
Yeah.
But punt the ball. What are you going? What are you trying to do? Nick Sirianni, what are you trying to do? You trying to show up Andy Reid? Is this like Philly getting Andy Reid back? Is that what's going on? So what happens? There's 1:56 left. Fine. Okay. Patrick Mahomes right now has 207 yards. Even if there's like one draw play, give me 1 sack. Just don't let him go all the way down the field. First play, 50-yard touchdown to Xavier freaking Worthy, 257 yards, loss for me. Heartbreaker. Absolute garbage.
A bad beat.
So the final standings, as we start weekend winners this week, were the actual final standings. Nick, 75 and 63, 17 and 6, 92 points. Joe, 79 and 59, beat him by 4 picks. 11 and 23 on the locks, 90 points. End up 2 points back. Robby, 70 and 68, did end up over 500.
Yippee.
7 and 69 on your locks, 77 points.
Good
So
for me.
you will buy pizza, not for me, but you will buy it for Nick, and I'm heartbroken.
Well, I think if they punted the ball, it'd just give more room for Mahomes to throw it even farther.
Well, yes, but they've got him pinned, and it just, like when you're at the 50, I don't know, there's a different feel, right? Like he probably is just nibbling around the edges if he's starting at his own 20.
Maybe so.
And you know what they might even be doing? They
Maybe
might just
take a knee.
Well, they not take a knee, but they might just hand it Pacheco a couple times and get out of there. But instead, you give him to the 50, like, all right, we'll take a shot. And yeah, let's not cover Xavier Worthy on the next play, too. Hate the Eagles.
It's a tough break for you. That's probably,
That's
it's
a kill. That's a bad beat, man.
It's definitely the worst beat in the history of our Pigskin Pick'em competition. There's no question about that. Really a great year in Pigskin Pick'em. We did very well.
We did. I mean, we're all over 500. I mean, collectively, that means that we were
listen to this program.
Collectively, we're 34 games over 500.
Yeah.
Now on our
contributed to 2 of
locks,
those.
we would not. On our locks, we would be 35 and 41.
Not good.
So that's not good enough. The locks were problematic other than for Nick, and that's why he won ultimately.
We'll get it going later today for weekend winners, the non-football portion of the competition. Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Are you?
I'm still hurting.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Teron Davenport will be with us coming up next. We'll get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. Take more of your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Check out Nashville's best deal of the week. It's from Bavarian Beer House located at Opry Mills Mall. Enjoy traditional German beer, brats, giant pretzels, and more in their expansive beer hall and garden. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals. Get half off a $50 gift card while supplies last. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
ESPN's Turon Davenport, Talking Titans, now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week. We head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our friend Turon Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, host of Talking with TD, and our man this time of year, doing the legwork, working hard, getting ready for the NFL draft coming up here, and what the Titans are going to do at number 1 overall. TD, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. What's going on, fellas?
A whole lot, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. TD, you can rest easy because Rexrode has figured it out. Rexrode is determined today here on the show what the Titans need to do at number 1 overall. He's going Travis Hunter, and he believes that Travis Hunter is going to be an elite cornerback in the NFL. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with that. He, to me, is the fourth out of the 4 options, viable ones at number 1. But, look, you can never go wrong by adding really good players, and that's what he is. But me personally, if I add him, he is PM, playmaker, man, and we're just going to put a package together, and I'm just going to find ways to get him the football, and I'm going to just say, hey, man, I need you to do something to get these people's butts up out the seats.
So I thought this might lead to a rare argument between TD and me. But yeah, like I believe, TD, that I understand he didn't play a lot of man. I believe that he is going to be a great corner, an elite corner, possibly an all-time corner, and a man-to-man right from day one. So tell me what I understand, like what he did in college, but what is it about him that you don't think he can be that level of man corner?
Well, it's not really something where I say I don't think. I don't think he is. I don't think he could be a Hall of Fame level player. I think he could be a good player. I'm just curious. So for me, if I take a guy number 1 overall, I need some degree of proven excellence, right? And I think with Travis Hunter, to me, the proven excellence that he has is that he could play well on both sides of the ball. But I don't think that's going to happen in the league. And just, when I watch him, again, I'll keep pointing to the Arizona game, and that was a really tough game for him. And he went against a guy who's going to play on Sundays, in Ted McMillan. And he lost a lot in that. So I don't have as much faith in him at corner being a top 5 player in the league, period. There's still a lot to be proven, and he played a lot of off. And like in zone, like this dude is awesome. I remember the first game of Colorado, man, like he came off this route that was kind of trying to carry him out of the zone where the slant was coming underneath, and he came off and then dove and picked it off. And I was like, that was a tremendous play.
Yeah.
That was against TCU, but I don't vision him as much of a corner as I vision him at receiver, returner. But above all else, if I'm going non-quarterback, that guy Abdul Carter. Remember that old commercial where Dennis Hopper was like, I see bad things. He's a bad man. Remember on Bruce Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Abdul Carter.
Bruce Smith. Oh, okay. All right. Well, so that's first of all, the Hunter stuff.
I'm not saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not saying Abdul Carter is Bruce Smith. I'm just saying that the commercial.
Yeah,
remember the commercial?
Yeah, I do.
Man.
But I thought you were also
Abdul's
making that. Making that link. Okay. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, yeah. So it is so fascinating with Hunter. Like the variance of opinion on that. On which side does he play both? I agree. Like I think it's totally like we should all be able to agree. Like if you try to play heavily on both sides in this league, you will get hurt. And especially, I mean, he's not big. He's not a huge guy. So, yeah. But it's fascinating the difference in opinion there. I said this too. If you tell me that Carter and Hunter are the same level of player, like at their respective positions, I'm going Carter. So what? Right. So at this point, what is because obviously a lot of the Parsons stuff is obvious because it's Penn State guys. That's lofty. But who would be your closest comp in your mind for him?
Yeah, I haven't really been able to come up with that. Outside of Michael Parsons, I haven't really been able to come up with one to kind of like describe his play, so to speak. Maybe Hassan Reddick, at his peak, a guy that comes off the ball really well, a guy that sets the edge, a guy that will run down plays to the opposite side of the line, those types of things. That's one that kind of pops in my mind. But the Micah Parsons one is just uncanny to me, and just the way they both get off the football. And let me tell you this, right? He's working out down in Plano, Texas at Exos, right, with Brent Callaway. Now, I'm going to tell you about Brent Callaway. That's a good friend of mine. But you look over the years, like the last 5 years, maybe 6 years or so, a lot of the top times that were run at the Combine, those guys worked with Brent. I went down there right after, the day before, I flew back up here from East West Shrine, and I went through there. He had some guys there. But Abdul Carter is working out with him. Abdul wasn't there when I got there, but Brent remember Montez Sweat ran the 4.4?
Oh, yeah.
Remember Brian Burns put on 15 pounds and managed to shave like 0.3 off his 40? Those they worked with Brent Callaway. So I say all that to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Abdul Carter runs a dumb time and just blows up the workouts there in Indy.
TD, you bring up Tet McMillan, so we'll see what happens with the Titans in the number 1 overall pick. If somebody decides to trade down with them, we'll see how far down they go. But how do you view McMillan and really just this year's of receivers towards the top in general, whether that's McMillan, you could throw Hunter in there, you could throw Luther Burden in there. How do you view kind of that top class of receivers this year?
Yeah, well, Luther Burden is my favorite receiver in this class. I'm not saying he's the best. He's my favorite. He was guilty of just not getting the football, and he had a lot of plays called back. I don't know. For some reason, he and Brady Cook, they couldn't connect. But he's a guy that, are yards after catch specialist. He's built like a running back, 5'11", 205. And he's someone that, 2 years ago, people said he could only play the slot. He showed last year that he could do both. I really like him as a player. He's also training there in Exos in Plano, as is Matthew Golden. But Tet McMillan, he's so intriguing because you see all of the traits, you see the production, and this dude, like, he was boogieing. You know what I mean? He had a great couple years. I just want to watch him a little bit more. I was saying this yesterday. There are times where, the ball's not going his way, and he kind of dogs it a little bit. And I just want to – I saw that in 2 games. I want to watch a couple more. I never form an opinion just off a couple games because you never know what the guy's going through, if he's sick, whatever. So I do like him as a player. And like I said, he ate Travis Hunter's lunch, and he's a guy that has the size. He reminds me a lot of like a T. Higgins vertical player where you just line him up at X and you let him go down the field and you throw it up and you just say, go get it, but also work in the middle of the field on those deep in-breaking routes.
So Combine next week, right? Combine next week with Titans. Or am I off a week? Is it Combine?
No, you're on.
No, you're on.
Yeah, so next week the Titans.
You're going to be camping out outside, aren't you?
I'm going to miss it this year.
Hey, listen, man. I'm having trouble sleeping. I'm so excited about that.
See?
Man.
Look at this guy. I tell you what, man. No one. Everybody, the Titans always talk about like Vrabel love ball. No, but they don't love the TD. Should be the example.
I agree.
If you love ball like TD, then you can be in this league. So when the Titans talk, TD, what is the most interesting storyline, question to ask, answer you want to hear? Like, what are you most excited about or interested in hearing from them or asking them?
My big thing is balancing out wanting to acquire more picks versus needing to acquire more blue chip elite level players. Because if you look at that roster, I said it on Power Hour yesterday, Jeffrey Simmons is probably the only one you would consider like an elite level player. You need more than that, So that would be my question, because obviously we know they want to trade back. We know they want picks, et cetera, but how far back can you do it and still get a player? And how do you weigh, taking out chances? Because, at the number one pick, your chances of getting a top level player are as high as possible, obviously, because you have the pick for the litter.
TD, where do you come down on Trey Smith? Would you be willing to, if you're the Titans, throw somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million per season his way this offseason?
This is something else that Jared and I talked about, and Jared is still not up to the importance of the guard center guard trio or the importance of the interior pass rush. So, we kind of went back and forth. I think Trey Smith is worth that money just because what he does to your run game. And I think he's worth that money because of his he's a premier level interior guy. And we saw guys get paid last year. Now, I'll say this because I asked Jared the same thing, right? Tony Pollard, he had 3 runs of 30 yards or more. Do you know who paved the way, who had the key block to spring him for 2 of them?
Dylan
Raditz?
Bingo.
Boom.
And so that, to me, shows you the importance of the interior offense. Now, of course, on those 2 runs, he pulled and he blew up the end. But still, it shows me, the importance. Go back and look at the Eagles game against the Chiefs. It shows the importance of the interior pass rush. Jalen Carter was having his way, and not all of it was against Trey Smith. He beat him a couple of times, but not all against him. And then you look at the Chiefs game against the Bucs. Vita Vea was a big factor in that. So collapsing the pocket is very important. Being able to stop teams from doing it is important too. So I say that's a long-winded way of saying that Trey Smith would be a really good acquisition. And you know what? I would table that, right? I would match that by going out and signing Morgan Moses. And I know he's old, but every time that dude is available, I've said the Titans need to get him. They don't get him, and he goes somewhere, and he helps solidify the offensive line. Go get him, Chad. Go get him, Mike Berganzi. He is the guy that will help you guys at right tackle and solidify that position for a couple years.
I love it. TD, great stuff, man. Really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and have a good weekend. Enjoy the Combine. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, for sure, man. I never met a day I didn't like, man. No bad days. So
absolutely. Beautiful. No doubt about it. Teron Davenport with us every Friday morning here on the program at 8 o'clock, sharing in Joe Rexrode's enthusiasm for the NFL Combine. We'll react to what TD had to say coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-1063 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode brought to you by First Horizon. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Visit firsthorizon.com/get it all. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Look, Joe, I'm in a conundrum right now because there are two people whose football opinions I greatly respect, and you and Teron Davenport. And I feel like you could not view the Travis Hunter playing corner at the NFL much more differently than you do right now.
Well, now let's be clear. He deserves more respect, and he does way more than I do on this. So, honestly, I'm kind of attaching my opinion to others who, like him, really grind on this stuff and really dig in on it. But it is fascinating. And I've been, again, like Nick Baumgartner, we had him on, PK and I had him on. That was last week, right? Or was that 2 weeks ago?
It was last week.
God, my brain is so. Whew. Nick, what you were talking about earlier?
Was it before or after you were espousing your Four Nations takes?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't possibly tell you that. But Nick Baumgartner, friend of the show, one of our draft analysts at The Athletic, does a great job. But again, he is as familiar with Charles Woodson as anybody, and was like, this guy's Charles Woodson. I'm like, okay. But that's like, as soon as he said that, I'm like, okay, man, I'm in on this. Okay. But listen, what TD makes compelling case there, Ted McMillan, he said he had his lunch in that game. I mean, that's gotta be some, does that not have to be some pretty important information? It would seem to be. I'm going to go to Dane Brugler, friend of the show, also our lead draft analyst. He's got his big board, top 100 prospects. Number 1, Travis Hunter. Number 2, Abdul Carter. Here's what he says about Travis Hunter. Basically, Hunter ranked number 1. Nothing's changed. He doesn't have the top spot because he can play both ways. That's more of a bonus. His athleticism, length, and ball instincts are why he's here, and those traits give him a sky-high ceiling at cornerback. But again, this is something that I want to do next week, and I will do, is really start to try to figure out who's team receiver, who's team corner, because I think we can all agree if your team, because he plays both, he should go number 1. I think you're on that's a bad team. He's not going to do that.
Oh.
You can't do it in this league.
Let me read you from Mel Kiper's latest big board that he threw out there. He's got Hunter at number 1. He says, Hunter has a great feel for the game on offense and defense. He played a whopping 1,458 snaps over 13 games this season. I really think he's got a chance to play both sides of the ball early in his career and make an impact both ways, though I'm ranking him as a receiver right now. This is from Mel Kiper.
Man. And that is, the fact that someone would rank him number 1 as a receiver is, man, that's why, again, that to me, I don't see that. I think he's great. I think he can absolutely make plays in this league. If he came into the NFL as he's just a receiver, I think he'd be a receiver who could be very productive, and you'd be very happy to have him on your team. I happen to think the ceiling, again, like Brugler here, is at corner. The ceiling that's incredibly high is at corner. But again, it's what I
said to start the show. Like, it's really interesting how different people's opinions are on this.
Yeah. That makes it so intriguing if you think that different draft analysts think he's actually that level of player at either one.
Yeah.
Again, though, he's not. He's just not gonna. And I just feel like also, if you want to talk about the extra bus, I've heard some people say it's like getting 1.5 players. I just don't see. I don't see how you're a half player at corner. Half player at receiver. Yes.
Look, we see guys can come in and play the nickel on occasion, right? And do it sparingly. The problem is, in today's league, though, that's the nickel's base defense, pretty much.
Right.
So you see it less and less. Like, I'm with you. Like, to me, if he's good enough where you feel like he's one of your best options at corner, then how do you not play him there throughout the whole game? But look, I could say the same thing at wide receiver, right? Like, that's where it gets into like, well, how much of both sides of the ball can he really play in the NFL before you start to worry yourself to death about injuries and what that could look like in his career? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, he's just I've never seen anything quite like this, frankly. Like with Dion and Charles Woodson, and I know we're talking different eras, but with both of those guys, it was the same thing in college. They did here and there. Here's a reverse to Dion. Punt returns for sure. Dion was incredible. Here and there. Charles Woodson, Michigan, runs them on a go route, and Brian Greasy throwing it to him because Tom Brady wasn't good enough to play in front of Brian Greasy. But this guy is every freaking snap, and it is amazing. Like you have to also feel good about his durability, even though he's not going to do that in the NFL. But the fact that he did it does have to make you feel good about that, right?
Yeah.
Abdul Carter from Brugler he says Carter might not have elite size, but his explosiveness is special, allows him to win with initial burst, edge speed, or power through contact. He projects the type of pass rusher that can force offenses to alter their game plan, which sounds great. But is that, again, Micah Parsons? Hassan Reddick is an interesting comp there from TD. I mean, if you could have a lot of years of Hassan Reddick's best, I'd take that.
Absolutely. Especially like before joining the Jets and not playing.
All that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, his best. Yeah.
All that stuff as well. Like, so I'm looking on PFF right now, right? Like, they've got their big board as well. They've got Hunter at number 1, and they've got him at corner. Like, it's really interesting how different it is when you look around the way these things are ranked here. It's really funny.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there's more that are corner than receiver, but I don't know that for sure. That's I'm gonna put together these teams. Like Daniel Jeremiah is a guy who has been at it for a long time. I think he does a good job, and I'm not even sure. Apparently, he has Hunter going number 1. But I'm trying to read as I do the show, which is probably a bad idea. It's hard enough for me to think while I do the show, let alone read while I do the show. Sorry.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Weekend winners coming up next after Joe's lamentation of the way the Pigskin Pick'em season ended. We're into weekend winners starting next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's time to pick some winners. We hope. Robby and Rexrode have weekend winners for you. Now
On ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for the inaugural 2025 edition of the Weekend Winners Competition. Pigskin Pick'em is done. Congratulations to Nick Keyser for his victory. Rexrode, close but no cigar.
Trash.
I was not close, and I will be buying pizza. So we'll see.
I do look forward to eating the pizza, but I have to pay for mine.
We'll try to do that next week. Let's see how it goes.
Let's do it.
See how it goes. All right, we begin with the Nashville Predators returning to action tomorrow night, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. The first game back after the Four Nations break. We're going straight up winner here. Keyser, you won the competition in Pigskin Pick'em, so you're up first. Your
All
selection.
Right. They kick off the back-to-back this weekend. I believe there's 3 left this season, Robby.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. But let's go game 1, Nashville Predators. I think Justus Onanen will probably be in net. So give me the Preds in game 1.
Ooh, going with the Preds.
A little bit of
game 1. Onanen.
Yeah, a little bit of retribution maybe from Juuso Parssinen. I don't know.
We'll see.
I guess we'll see.
Rexrode, the Predators and the Avs coming up tomorrow at Bridgestone Arena.
So basically, you're saying if Saros isn't in goal, you're picking the Preds. Is that
That's what I heard.
Is that what I just heard there? Is that accurate?
No comment from Keyser.
Yeah, I'll go Avs.
I'm always, and you'll get, this is going to be a theme in my individual picks later. Coming off that tournament, when you got a couple high-level players that were as invested as they were in that tournament, I feel like there's a little bit of a letdown coming. Give me the Preds tomorrow night against the Avalanche. Probably no reason why the Predators should win based on the way that things have gone here, but I'm going psychological factor. Preds.
Makes sense.
Win tomorrow. Ole Miss taking on Vanderbilt tomorrow as well in a massive game at Memorial Gym. Joe, we've talked about big stakes for Vanderbilt. They really need this one to end the skid they're on and to get back into the path to making the NCAA tournament. You're up first in this one, Rexrode. Who you got between Ole Miss and Vanderbilt?
Yeah, look, I think Vanderbilt at home has been very tough this year. Ole Miss is a good team. This is a huge game. Look at Vanderbilt's schedule where they are. They're right on that bubble. I think they're on the right side of the bubble right now, but they're right on it. And there's more tough games ahead. They've a 3-game skid is Auburn, at Tennessee, and at Kentucky. But I think Vanderbilt's going to get it done in a huge game that's going to be a big part of them getting into the NCAA tournament.
Vanderbilt lock. I'm locking down. Locking down on the doors. They've played incredible competition over the course of the past 3 games here. Not that Ole Miss isn't good, but Ole Miss is not Auburn. They're not Tennessee. They're not Kentucky. So give me Vanderbilt at home to get a much-needed win, a big win against Ole Miss. I'm locking down on the doors. Nick Keyser, Vanderbilt and Ole Miss.
Yeah, hate to be the downer here. I don't think they're going to get it done. They've kind of, not been able to, close the games out lately. I know that Ole Miss, they're coming off of a loss to, I think they played Mississippi State, right?
They lost in the Egg Bowl of basketball.
Oh, man. Well, I think they bounced back from that.
Was Lane there? Probably. Throw anything?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Right.
Any mustard?
He went on Insta.
Yeah. Rexrode will be on Insta very soon. Tennessee on the road, taking on Texas A&M. I'll start with this one. Give me the Aggies. I think going on the road in that environment, 2 top 10 teams, number 6 versus number 7 in the matchup. I'll take the Texas A&M Aggies to win the game at home. Nick Keyser, who you got between the Vols and the Aggies?
Yeah, I'm going to be going with the Aggies, and I'm going to make it my lock this weekend over Tennessee. Look, I think it's going to be interesting. Look, and also going down to A&M, they've also only lost 1 game so far. It's going to be a tough environment for the Vols to go win in.
Joe Rexrode, A&M and Tennessee coming up tomorrow.
All right, I'll be the homer. I think the Vols, this is a defensive, if you love defensive basketball, this is a dream matchup. And then the rebounding, well, come on. There's a bunch of SEC games are like 110 to 103.
Awesome. Nice 41-39 matchup.
It won't be that bad. A&M, incredible rebounding team, best offensive rebounding team in the league. But I think Tennessee's defense gets it done.
Going with the Vols on the road against A&M. Back at home on Sunday are the Nashville Predators taking on the New Jersey Devils. Nick Keyser, we begin again with you. Who you got between the Preds and the Devils?
Well, UC Saros will be in net. I would presume Joe Rexrode, after saying I would think that they would just lose every time he's in the net. But I don't think they will beat the Devils. Give me the Devils on Sunday.
On with the Devils in that matchup. Joe Rexrode, the Devils and the Preds coming up on Sunday.
I'll go with the Preds. Unlike Nick, I don't think that UC Saros is the worst goalie in the league. Give me the Preds.
I will go with the Devils in this matchup as well. It's hard for me to pick the Predators to win both games against the Avs and the Devils this weekend.
Understandably.
So, I mean, look, their schedule, by the way, in all seriousness, it's weird timing. Like everything's kind of weird right now with coming off the Four Nations. So it may not necessarily work out this way, but they've got Colorado, New Jersey, Florida, and Winnipeg right off the hop here.
Oh, great.
Oh, good for you guys.
Super.
Some of the best teams in the league.
Some of those teams are injury riddled because of Four Nations.
We'll
So,
see. Yeah, like I mean, I have no idea. Like Nathan McKinnon's not hurt, but like I guess he's playing tomorrow. Cale Makar has been hurt, so is he going to play tomorrow? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
By the way, speaking of, how about scratching Kyle Connors yesterday? Would that have been nice to have him?
Would you have played him a little bit more than Chris Kreider? Probably would have been a good call there.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Mike Sullivan. What are we doing?
Yep, need a new coach.
We moved to
You're
the
fired from all your coaching jobs.
individual portion of the program. Nick Keyser, your first individual selection.
Yeah, I won't be in attendance, but I'm going to go with a draw this weekend as Nashville SC kicks off their play, and they go up against the Chicago Fire. They will not have Hani Mukhtar. That's why I'm going with the draw this weekend to be at least optimistic.
Way to come with the hot take and pick a draw.
Really exciting start for the soccer season to have a draw.
You can hate all you want. I don't care. It's a real thing, and they did it too often last year.
It's definitely a real thing. There's no doubt about that. Rexrode, your first individual selection.
Well, it's the first one of the year, so I'm going to do a little bit of betting with my heart. I'm excited about Jimmy Butler and my Dubs at the Kings. Kings plus 2.5. Give me the Warriors and make it my lock.
I was about to say, Keyser.
Come on, Keyser.
Falling asleep over there.
You're in there dreaming about soccer draws.
Going with Warriors minus 2.5 against, by the way, Nick Keyser's beloved Sacramento Kings.
That's right. Ooh, head-to-head.
Big rivalry matchup here.
Mm-hmm.
Knocking down on that one. Give me the Washington Capitals minus 1.5 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, the Capitals have Ovechkin. They've been playing really well. They don't have a ton of guys that were heavily involved in the Four Nations tournament. You got Crosby coming back. I think Crosby's been battling an injury to get through this, so we'll see if he plays or not. I think the Capitals in good position to run away with this one tomorrow. Give me the Capitals minus the 1.5 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Joe Rexrode, your final individual selection.
So tonight, college hoops, you got Marquette at Villanova. I'm going again with a road team. Villanova's getting 1.5. I think Marquette gets it done in Philly.
Going with Marquette against who they're playing?
At Villanova.
At Villanova. Okay, there we go. Nick Keyser, your final individual selection. By the way, it's been brought to our attention
made a mistake
that you picked the wrong game between Nashville SC and Chicago Fire.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that tells you my mind's in the gutter. I'm selling my tickets and I cannot go. So look, that is my only excuse that I have.
So who are they playing? New England?
Yes, they are playing the Revolution. Yes.
So you still sticking with the draw?
I'm still sticking with it.
The matchup is so different, and you're still going to go with the draw.
Yes, I am.
Good gracious. Okay.
Kick that Eric Clapton in, man.
No, I do not need.
You're the one who introduced it to the show today.
You're the one that brought up the reference, but okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go with my last game being the Carolina Hurricanes over the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that is on Saturday. I do know that game.
What's the line?
Yeah. I know what the line is because it's my pick too.
Minus what? 2?
1.5.
Oh, never mind. That's not what
it's
I was
all minus
at.
1.5, right? Leafs minus 1.5, both of you?
It's Carolina minus 1.5.
Carolina.
You going with Carolina?
No, I'm going with the Oh, sorry. Yes. Golly, yes. Mine is in the
first
gutter.
competition of the year, and he's all flustered over here.
Are you doing the same? You got to go against him.
No, I had that pegged. Like you got Marner and you've got Matthews playing heavy roles in that game last night. Letdown City coming up. I know Jacob Slavin, who, by the way, unbelievable last night for Team USA.
Slavin, man.
I know he plays for Carolina, but Carolina will be ready to go in this one. Give me Carolina minus the 1.5 against the Leafs.
Slavin maybe, open some eyes about how freaking good he is.
You can make the case. Number one, a couple things. You can make the case he is the best defensive defenseman in the league. And I thought probably also a good reminder that there probably needs to be an award in the NHL given to the best defensive defenseman. If we're just not ever going to consider any of these guys for the Norris Trophy because they don't put up enough offense, that's fine. But let's add another award.
You're right. No, I think that's a great call. When's the last defenseman to win the Norris who was not because of offensive production?
maybe like Mark Giordano, but he had a great year offensively that year. Like it's like, I'm not
it's
saying
part of the
offense
equation.
should not be part of it, because I think it should.
Yeah.
But I think we get so caught up in, I don't really like, quite frankly, Eric Carlson has won the Norris Trophy, I think 3 times. He's not a very good defensive defenseman.
Right.
But
big numbers.
It's half the game, as you point out in basketball.
It is.
Half the game. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Speaking of the U.S. and Canada, we'll give our thoughts on that coming up next. What a game last night. What a moment. What a week for the sport of hockey. We'll wrap up the show with that next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I got some tickets to give away to the Nashville Celebrity Comic-Con at Nashville Fairgrounds coming up March 1st and March 2nd. A 4-pack of tickets. Be caller 3, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines. Robby and Rexrode brought to you by First Horizon, Big Bank Muscle, Small Bank Hustle. Visit firsthorizon.com/get it all. What a game last night between U.S. and Canada to close out the Four Nations tournament. Canada wins 3-2 in overtime. Connor McDavid scoring the game-winning goal. Joe, we talked about it to begin the show. I thought it was a game that lived up to the hype. I thought it was an extremely intense, high-level, great hockey game that we saw last night. And I actually thought, the first two periods, I thought particularly in the second, Canada was really good. And Team USA did a decent job of kind of holding them down. But I thought through two periods, the Canadians were the better team. I thought U.S. was better in the third. I thought U.S. was better in overtime until it ended, right? Like they had, I think Matthews by himself had 3 good looks in overtime. Brady Tkachuk had basically an open net that Bennington somehow got back over and got his glove on. And when Bennington made a couple of those saves, including Matthews, like right on the doorstep, I was like, man, you start making these saves in overtime. How often do we see this in hockey where goalies make some huge saves one way and then you go down the other way and it's over quick? And that's what happened. And you leave McDavid all alone in the middle of the ice, he's probably going to make you pay for that. And he did yesterday. But all in all, what a game. What a moment for hockey. And I don't even think the NHL, who organized this thing, could have possibly pictured this going as well as it did.
No, I agree. I don't think the NHL could have pictured this. I'm very interested to see what the ratings look like. Obviously, they were great for the first U.S.-Canada matchup. I do think that I think the way that the first matchup went, the way that, the Tkachuks decided to start that thing in Montreal, I think that's part of it too. You're right. Coming right out swinging, and it's a great rivalry. Watching that game, I was enthralled every second of it. And honestly, that it doesn't happen for me a lot in hockey outside of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and even a lot of that is like once you get to a game 7, you cannot miss it. You get to a game 7, you get to overtime. It's like it's like just living and dying with every shift and every shot and every turnover. And this kind of felt like that for the whole game. It lived up to the hype.
It was awesome. It was a great hockey game. And you had elite level players totally invested from start to finish, which did not lead to like a flurry of scoring chances all night long. Like it was really tight out there and it was tough to generate good looks offensively. Now, sometimes the skill just broke through and they were able to generate some of those looks, but I thought both teams played really well defensively. We brought up Slavin in the last segment. He was unbelievable last night. Like some of the blocks that he had, some of the close-offs that he had, some of the small things of getting the puck out of trouble.
Well, that penalty kill early, he's crazy. Yeah, he made one play in particular that was like.
Yeah, Crosby had an open net, and he just totally he ripped it away from him. He was unbelievable last night. And I still think, like Team USA, when you're dealing with McKinnon and McDavid in particular on the other side and the speed that those guys can generate, I thought they did a really good job of slowing those guys down. Like McDavid didn't really do anything the whole night until the goal. Now, obviously, the goal is the most important thing. I actually thought he struggled last night. McKinnon had the one goal to start, and then they held him in check pretty well. Like I thought the guy that really burned him the most last night was Marner. Like Marner was all over the place for Canada last night. He was really good.
Marner and Matthews. Yeah. Clutch players. Yeah, look, McDavid's goal, and I would expect almost everybody on both teams to like convert that. You get that but of course, what a dream for the Canadian hockey fan that he's the guy who wins this for you, right?
Well, when the game's over last night, I saw people talking about it on Twitter, and you allow yourself to start to think about it. Winter Olympics is next year. Like you're going to have, I think Russia in there. We'll see. You're going to have the best players from all the countries represented. Like Dreisaitl's going to play in that thing, so it's going to be awesome. And then are we going to get either a gold medal match or a significant medal round matchup between Team USA and Team Canada? Because what Saturday was and what last night was, give me more of that. Like I want more best on best Team Canada, Team USA hockey moving forward.
Yeah, it kind of sets up, I think the cores of both teams should be there. So it's you got some rivalry going. I mean, a lot of those Canadian guys did not like Brady Tkachuk plastering them all over the place and basically getting a shove in at every whistle, at every opportunity he got. But he did it. And that's a guy who I always think about Matthew Tkachuk, and of course think about the Preds and how they could have got him. But man, Brady Tkachuk, he's a problem too.
Yeah.
He is a problem. So that will be – I'm super excited for that. By the way, speaking of the Olympics, who's going to be Finland's starting goalie?
I don't know. Maybe UC Saros? Maybe Kevin Lankinen?
The fact that we're questioning that.
I know. It's
unfortunately, it now brings us back to the reality of hockey in Nashville today.
well, yeah, it's
Sorry.
Well, again, like we know where the Predators are in the standings. And now we're on the other side of the Four Nations tournament. And the question you have now is like, okay, so when are people going to start getting traded? Like, the deadline's, I believe, March the 7th. So we're getting pretty close here. We've got a couple weeks. Like when does Barry Trotz start pulling the trigger and making some moves here?
Are we supposed to open these presents
I think
before
we
the
are.
show ends?
Yeah.
What the heck? What has Nick Keyser done? Like, seriously, is this going to be like a bomb?
He texted us the other day and said he's got some gifts for us.
This looks like a really legit item. Oh my goodness.
He's got a
That is
sweater.
Absolutely.
It says, I need a Diet Coke for me.
Well, look at this beautiful thing. This is the most beautiful piece of clothing I think I've ever had.
Wow. Robbie and Rexrode. Keezer, did you just forget Christmas? Like, what's the story behind this?
Wait.
Yeah, I did. So this was in the works for a while, and Joe's is more of an idea that I had lately to change. I know the back is my favorite for Joe's
Check
sweatshirt,
your head,
by
the
way.
back. The three of us, the Beastie Boys with PK included too.
Yep.
Stuff.
I think that is the best item I've given a coworker ever.
Well, it's
So,
certainly the best Christmas present I've ever received on February 21st.
yes,
There's
I
no
know.
doubt about that.
What a great belated present giving time. I
Thank
know.
you, Nicholas.
This
You're
is
welcome.
gorgeous. I'm going to wear this every day. I'm
I
never going to
know.
wash it.
I think PK needs one too.
I think you may be right. And I'm
Yeah.
sure
Thanks, buddy.
You're
nothing
welcome.
would warm Kuharski's heart more than to receive a gift from Nick Keyser.
Why do I have to be King Ed Rock?
And by the way, those images on your sweatshirt, DJ Burnside.
Nice. Thank you, DJ. The gift that keeps on giving to
That's
this program.
beautiful. Thanks, man. Wow, I'm excited. I'm put this on right now.
Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. We'll be back Monday morning. Chasing Big Joe up next. You're listening to 102.5, 106.